All right. Here they come. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hello, Alberta. I hope everyone's doing well. Let us know in the chat. Just make sure to put to all panelists, all attendees. This way we all see it. Let us know where in Alberta you're coming from today. Super excited. I'm going to give everyone a couple of minutes just to settle on in here before we start rocking and rolling. I was thinking about it before we went live. I have a couple of family members still in Calgary, and it's been quite a while, but I was out in Lethbridge as a young girl. That was my it was probably my last time out there. I used to travel with my dad quite a bit, and he was out that way. So we also have friends who are out in Calgary, closer to the Edmonton area, I should say. Hello, here we go. Yeah, Edmonton rocking in. We're super excited to have folks here. Hello, Canada. It's exciting to be a Canadian right now. I know it's a little wild times. Hope everyone's okay and doing all right. I know that the province of Alberta is working on, reopening slowly yet surely. Ontario's in the same process, so I know how you're feeling. That's for sure. So we see a couple folks from Canmore. Let's see what else we heard. Just gotta scroll back in the chat. Wonderful. Yeah, let us know, folks, where you're going, where you're coming from in Alberta today. Red Deer? How cold is it out your way, folks? That's what I'd love to know. We had it was a typical Canadian morning this morning, and I was wondering why our heat was going off like no tomorrow. And the -17 was in. I know it gets much colder out your way, that's for sure, though. Hello, Edmonton. Some amazing weather out your way. Fantastic. Oh, wow, 1 degree. I'm kind of jealous. I'm really jealous, folks. Make sure as well, if you're in the chat with us, we're going to start in a few minutes, but let us know where you're coming from if you just joined. Let us know how everything is going. If you've ever heard of HiMama, or even if you're a HiMama family member, welcome. Super excited to talk a little bit more about Bill 39. I know that you guys have been talking about this for a while. I know everything's just kind of happened in the last month and a bit. And even here in Ontario, we have changes rolling out our way. I feel like between Alberta and Ontario, we definitely do some leading in education, and changes definitely happens. So, and if you're not, please make sure to join our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group here with HiMama. It's called HiMama Circle Time. Please make sure to join us here today. We have a couple of questions when you do join, so please just make sure to answer those up appropriately. Okay, folks, a minute or two more and we'll settle on in and get started. One or two more minutes here. Couple of more folks have rolled in. Let us know. Say hi in the chat, everybody. Just make sure that you change it to all panelists, all attendees. All you have to do is just click down next to the two, and you'll be able to change that up. This way everyone gets to see the questions. Other people usually have the same question, or they go, "That's a great question I never thought of." So really excited to have everyone here. This is our first Alberta session. It's 3 p.m. here in Toronto. I know it's you guys are 2 hours behind us, so one around there. Make sure as well, any questions, while you guys are here before we get started, if you guys do have any questions, there is a Q&A box. So make sure to pop in questions there as they come up. We'll do our best. So make sure that, every questions that come up. And if not, I'm more than happy to do a bit of homework and find you an answer, everybody. Hello. Very excited to have everyone here. One more minute or two, and then we're going to get started. We have a couple of people coming in. Oh, here we go. A couple more people. Fantastic. Very nice in Edmonton today. Edmonton today. Oh, that's exciting. All righty. Let's Kaya just posted, folks, by the way, the invite to our Facebook group. If you haven't, please let us know too. Make sure you can see it. We're just trying to make sure that the chat's working for you folks before we get started. And join us, please join us in our Facebook group. Lots of great community. Oh, great, Sherry, you're already in it. Great community people here. We're trying to just build up on the community side, make sure we got a good space for you folks to, have a space for further conversation, whether it's something like this, like Bill 39, whether it's around things that are going on at your center. We want to be able to provide you with that great community and keep going and keep asking some great questions. So many pieces of learning and development happen, not just with children, but with us as adults. We're always learning, right? All right, folks. It is just past the 3 o'clock hour. We've seen quite a few people roll in. I think it's time to get rocking and rolling. So let's settle on in. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A chat that you can specifically pop questions in. If you haven't already, please make sure to open up your chat to all panelists, all attendees. This way, everyone gets to see the fabulous questions that are getting asked. And let us know if you do have any trouble. We have a couple of housekeeping pieces to start with. But as always, if you actually have ever been on any webinar with us here at HiMama, just know that I am not your legal or financial advisor, nor do you want me to be. Okay, that is not my area of expertise whatsoever. The idea around our webinars is to drive great conversation, things that you can implement at your center, and just making sure to consult the right people, especially if it's anything around licensing rep, obviously with further detailed questions. Those are those good people to go to. And of course, with financial advice or anything like that, to contact your financial legal advisor. Those are really important people to keep in your loop and keep communicating. But sadly, and I shouldn't say sadly, it's just not me, folks. That's all I want to say. I'm going to shush it for a few minutes. I'm going to bring on my colleague Kaya here, and she's going to take over the mic.
Hi, everyone. It is clearly not a Thursday for me. I'm clearly having lots of struggles on Zoom here. So apologies for sending out the same message multiple times. I know that's annoying, but my name is Kaya here. And before we jump into today's webinar, I wanted to acknowledge the land. So I am going to read a statement on behalf of HiMama. So HiMama acknowledges that our main headquarters is situated in Toronto, Ontario, on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Toronto itself is a word that originates from the Mohawk word takaranto, meaning the place in the water where the trees are standing. As participants and guests in today's webinar, we are coming together from many different places around the world and around Canada. We encourage you to learn about and acknowledge the land from which you participate. And also a little bit about our diversity and inclusion here at HiMama. HiMama is committed to fostering an inclusive and welcoming environment for our employees, our customers, and our community. HiMama welcomes and celebrates individuals of all backgrounds, orientations, and identities. Our Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Committee aims to ensure we provide a safe environment for everyone to thrive while bringing their authentic selves to work. Our mission is to promote an inclusive workspace for all employees through education, discussion, and celebration of our differences. Embracing these differences while coming together with a common purpose is what makes our team extra special. Thank you.
Thanks, Kaya. Thank you very much for that. A couple of housekeeping pieces for you for today. If for some reason, because I know many of you are probably, chiming in on a lunch break or anything like that, life is busy for you. So just to know that the entire session is recorded. If you do have to duck out, sorry, you might have to leave us early. But to know we are recording, of course, for that. We are going to be sending out everything tomorrow. So we have a participation certificate, for you available as well. So you'll get the recordings, the slides, everything. We're going to send it all out to you. So not to fret if you do have to leave. And the certificate's going to be made available, not just today, but in the show notes as well with the email that we'll be sending out in the next coming days. So you will have everything no later than the end of the week. If you need some closed captions, please go ahead, turn those on for yourself. So it's the little CC button there. You can just click and good to go. And last but not least, if you're having any trouble with your connection or Zoom or anything like that, I highly recommend you please do connect with support.zoom.us. They're the best people for their program, folks. Sadly, I'm techie some days, but that's definitely not my area of expertise whatsoever as well. So just make sure to connect up with them. Okay. Kaya's already sort of a small intro of herself, but I'm going to bring her back on here in a sec to continue on that. If you've never been with us before, I am Ria. I am one of the early childhood educators here at HiMama. I've been with the company for just about 3 years now, and I am also an early childhood educator. Couple of fun facts about me. I spent just about 6.5 to 7 years in the classroom, and man, I really spent it with all of those lovely potty training kiddos. Probably my favorite age group, actually. So any other fun facts I have? I'm really obsessed with my niece and my nephew. They are the little loves of my life, and I enjoy every minute I can with them. Of course, right now times are a little different, but you know, you just got to do those great video calls, and they're usually pretty hilarious when they're on there. So, hey, Kaya, you want to come back on and do a small intro of you? I get to work with you day in, day out. Kaya is my partner in crime, folks. Any fun facts for us?
Oh gosh, I should have known. It's not a Thursday though, so I don't have this fun fact. Okay, I
Is
got
it
a fun
throwing me
fact.
off?
I know it is. Fun fact, I've been buying myself flowers every week for like the last 2 or I guess 3 months now. And it
Oh,
really brightens up any space. I just love the like look of flowers, especially in a dreary winter. I've been loving my tulips. I guess that's a fun fact about me.
I like
But
it.
yeah, I'm here for support on chat if anyone needs anything, and I'm going to keep conversation going. So we're super excited to have all of our Alberta friends with us today.
Thanks, Kaya. All right, folks. Let's get into it. Like Kaya said, she's on the chat, so please don't be shy, as well as use that Q&A button for yourself. But if you've I don't know where you've been if you haven't heard in the last couple of months. Obviously, Alberta's had some really big changes, and I'm sure you're all very, very aware of this. It's been all over the news, and we're going to highlight some of those key takeaways from today, from all of this, obviously today. So we're going to look at a little bit of a higher level of these changes that are coming down the pipeline and have been implemented over the last month and a bit for you folks. And so we're primarily going to have a focus lens on licensed childcare centers, but I'm going to dive in a small, tiny bit for some of the home childcare centers. Talk about going paperless. It's something that you folks have done. Some of you have done already. Some of you have been using HiMama for years. Some of you have been thinking about going paperless and never really thought about it. And I know that this specifically has prompted a lot of change. Last but not least, we're going to hear from Amanda. So if you weren't with us potentially last week, I want to run a small clip because Amanda was very reluctant to go paperless. She had a couple of amazing takeaways, and I'm going to highlight one specifically here for you later in a bit. And she decided to go paperless at the height of COVID, and because of it, she's never looked back. So I wanted to share her experience because she's a fantastic lady, a director and owner of a center down in the States, and she's been absolutely phenomenal, sharing a lot around the experience that it has. So let's take a little look. Bill 39. We've all heard about this, obviously. Some of the high level takeaways. So they obviously within the Bill 39 and obviously the changing name for early learning and childcare regulations you guys have, they're looking at making the center a little bit more modern for you folks. And this comes in a variety of contexts, as well as quality and safety. And I think as well, safety, I'm not surprised, goes hand in hand with what's happening these days with COVID. And I'm not surprised to see them going hand in hand. And of course, quality. We all strive at centers to have high quality. We want to have that. It's super important. We're racing the future. You guys are out there right now. You're out there in the height of COVID. It doesn't matter when, how, where. You're always raising the future, and you're always a huge impact. And so those two pieces go hand in hand. And the safety as well, not just on the children's side, but for yourself. A little bit more transparency for folks, for parents, families looking to enroll their children, and as well, that red tape. We're all happy to see that one on this bill. We're all happy to see a little bit more of, I want to say, those redundancies that were in older documents being dismantled and set aside. We've even seen it here in Ontario, and then talk a little bit more about the flexibility for parents and for teachers. So let's start off modern childcare. And I know it can be a little scary. Sometimes with the word modern, a lot of people are like, it's not my style. Don't fret. I know, like I'd mentioned this before, lots of centers in Alberta do use HiMama. They do use some sort of application, but you've had to have all of those records printed out. I can't imagine personally having to store all of that documentation. It's a little bit, it's a bit much in my mind, and the tree side of everything. But now you're allowed to keep those digital records. I'm so happy for you folks because it's going to save you a lot more time, money and paper as well. We did a study here at HiMama, and it was just astronomical how much you folks spend at centers on paper. If I remember right, it was somewhere over the course of a year around an average of a 60 child center. You can spend upwards to $30,000 in paper and ink. It's just a wild amount. We're going to share that with you up later. Talking a little bit more here, the change of name. Name comes along with this word modern, folks. We've had this, and the great example of this is moving away from the word daycare, now childcare. Most acts, regulations, things like that, and just across Canada and even the United States. Updating the language that's used within these guides is super important because things have been super outdated. I know a couple of other provinces, they've been doing updates from things that were, they were still in place from, 1989. It's old as me. So this is a great example of just why we update names and languages. It also refers to like terms, best practices, because language has changed over the course of the years, right? So now we have this update of terms, and we want to make sure to have them in a great place and make sure that it's reflective of the time and the practice today. The other thing that Alberta has promised, and I'll be interested to see as it does roll out, is obviously we've mentioned this before, transparency for parents. And this is coming in the form of a modern system to allow parents to have more clarity around choosing a childcare center, what's available to them. There's still a little bit more of a gray area happening around this guy specifically. But I'll be interested to see as it rolls out. My eyes will definitely be on it as we do get some more answers around it. Let's talk a little bit about quality and safety. Now, I took this one as a bit of a high level, and I broke it out into two pieces. These were the pieces that I took away. Obviously, we're looking at those mandatory expectations, and having one set. I think this is super helpful for centers as they know where the regulations lie, what the expectations are, this coming from a licensing rep, and to maybe take away any confusion that's happened in the past. I've definitely seen there, we have had centers where, they might be even across town from each other. They have the exact same rep, but interpretations have been left up in the air. So making sure that there's a mandatory set of regulations, I think just allowing for a little bit more alignment is a really key thing, especially around safety right now. And like I mentioned, for both teachers, parents, and children, not just one or the other. The other key piece here is, and I thought this was actually a really interesting piece when I was reading a little bit more about it and getting into it, is more on the side of having this risk-based licensing. So if you've done any reading and done any, and I'm sure everybody has actually, I've done a little bit more digging into this. It's been set out to help obviously keep things up, maintaining your standards, making sure that as a high quality center, you guys are doing everything you should be doing. And then from that, determining whether you need to visit the next year. Right now in Ontario, we have every year visit, spontaneous visit, of course. And this system will allow for, instead of maybe every year, if you guys have a raging review and it's fantastic, there's no need for them to come back the following year. Whereas you may have a center that maybe they're just struggling to keep up with something and they need a lot more direction. And I feel like when it comes to a licensing visit, licensing reps need to actually give more direction. And I'm hoping this will also allow for that. So there's definitely some key pieces that I'm interested to see as this rolls out, what will be coming of it. Let's talk about mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, whoever you may be, parent, guardian, mom and mom, dad and dad, whoever you are. Centers are looking to have a little bit more communication around their licensing. And this is a pretty big one. When licensing changes or any issues happen around your license, you need to be a lot more transparent with families about that. And it's pretty much, you can post, you need to post about it, and you might have to take it a step further at this point because centers need to, really let parents know what it means. And I think take it as further conversation. And I think there's a little bit more area left around how you go ahead and do that. but it's something that you need to definitely be getting out to mom and dad if there, of course, if there's any changes. Not if there's if you guys are status quo, I won't worry personally. There's a little bit more around too, if and I hope this never happens to you at your center, if a stop order has to happen, that Children's Aid can step in. I feel like that's definitely something that is coming down. You'll be in a very serious situation, and I like I said, I hope none of you are ever in that. Okay. And looking at some more collaboration. So this we'd mentioned before, having that tool for parents to make a better decision about their childcare. And I think it's going to come around to obviously as you as a childcare center, teachers, directors, owners, whoever you may be, you're maintaining that high quality standard so that parents look and go, hey, this looks like the center for me. And of course, there's their pocket of story that comes along with all of that. Let's look at the red tape. Nobody likes this. Honestly, I agree. Let's get rid of the red tape. Many programs, and I was actually surprised about this, that Alberta had 5 types of, faculty and home-based like divisions of childcare centers, and now you guys are coming down to 2. It is only ever been 2 here in Ontario, and this will hopefully make the process for you folks just a lot easier. We're looking more at that supported and streamlined process for potential new licensees, as well if you are looking to maybe open up a new location within your center, or if you're looking at opening, whether it's the school next door even, making sure that those expansion opportunities are a little bit easier for all of you folks. I feel like that will be key. And especially if you're in good standing. I feel like if you've got good standing, you're doing an expanding opportunity, then there's no reason why this process shouldn't be streamlined for you, that it shouldn't be easier. You're already doing what you're doing, you're just applying it in a different location. So more flexibility for mom and dad. And when I originally read this, I thought, that's wild. No, it makes a lot of sense. You guys have a bit of a different world out in Alberta compared to here in Ontario. In some cases, not all cases, but being able to apply and open up your center to be a 24-hour center. And I personally feel like this will definitely be very handy for parents who do shift work. Of course, there is the tape that comes with that. And that's, of course, making sure you have all the health and safety regulations, that you have some additional standards in place as those roll out and we get more look-see into them and understand what they are. I'm sure lots of centers will actually take advantage of this. And it definitely will be a different work environment if you do. I'd love to hear if anybody actually here on the chat's ever done a 24-hour center. I've never personally, I've talked with other folks a while back about running a 24-hour center. And it definitely seems like a high, it's highly demand. But then, of course, there's also lots of things that go along with it. But as long as you've got it going, I feel like it could definitely be a great thing. So keep in mind that you're going to have those extra expectations that are put on you, but of course, they're going to be for safety. Children who are with you for into the wee hours of the night and overnight, those sorts of additions are going to be, you want to make sure yourself, your staff, all of those folks are in good place. So big one brought on, and I personally think this is a COVID adaptation is the mix of age groups. We're also looking at this specific one here in Ontario, allowing for more flexibility for staffing and of course adaptation if you have to make any more changes due to COVID. There's so many changes going on, and I feel like educators all around the world, and especially here in Canada too, we've been looking at so many changes and just proved our adaptability as we go. So let's jump in. My small little tidbit here about family home childcare agencies. I think the agencies are a big piece in Alberta. I'd have to look a little bit more in Ontario. I don't feel like it's as a popular thing, but you guys will be looking at some more alignments of standards, and I don't think it's a bad thing. Having more alignments usually provides more clarity, and it's usually super helpful. So I took direct quote from them, from the regulations piece. So to have that, overseeing piece could be coming up from above. And I think that moves into the alignment of everybody all under one roof. It's not a bad thing. I think personally moving forward, just having alignments, no matter who you are, it makes understanding easier, makes questions easier. And as well, you guys are providing the same care. It's just a different sort of setup and location. So I'd mentioned this before. We've had lots and lots of fantastic customers even here with us today join the HiMama family. And for the most part, I'm going to talk a little bit more to those folks who are thinking about making the jump and going paperless, because I think there's a couple of pieces that you need to have in the back of your mind as you do this process. And it's not that it's a tough process by any means. It's a matter of setting yourself up for success. And I think there's a couple of key things to just think about as you do start your process if you are deciding to just go completely paperless. Okay? So let's talk about them. 8 easy steps. I do promise they're easy. And the first one starts with knowing what exactly you want to go digital with. So I highly recommend sitting down and having a step back at what your day-to-day operations look like at your center. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to change? What do your staff need? Talk to your staff. What do those teachers will, you know, getting daily reports out of their hands and onto something digital that they can send easily to mom and dad, that make it easier. Will it be easier to start billing with families or online? What will make it easier for everybody and take a piece off of your plate? And this was actually a pretty big takeaway from Amanda, who we're going to hear from in just a little bit, is wanting to know how much easier she can make it for herself. When she started with HiMama, so overwhelmed with all the things she had to do, but she was already doing them. So it's a huge piece to have. And so just think about it, whether you are wanting to go, look the assessment route, learning and development, activities, what is it you're wanting to share? Get the big communication piece out there. I think communication with parents is probably a number one factor for many folks. So just think about it and dive into why. What will make the difference? And of course, how you're going to go about that and setting yourself up for success. So you should already have this one, okay? You should have it. We're going to pretend you already always have it. Okay. Well, we all know families' contact information changes, and it seems like almost hourly in some cases. But just make sure you have the most up-to-date information. Typically, this is a licensing thing anyways, and I'm sure you all have mom and dad's phone numbers for emergencies no matter what. So just make sure to have it. And it's a lot easier to start implementing something if you have all of this stuff in advance. It just totally makes your life a lot easier. So just to make sure, take a little quick look, see, double check with folks, let them know, of course, you have everything up to date. Choosing an app. I'll be biased. I'm just going to throw it out there, like shameless plug for myself here. Of course, I'm going to highly recommend HiMama for you to go digital at your center. Like that's the obvious one. But what I want you to know is to pick the app that actually meets your requirements and meets your needs. Here at HiMama, we strive 100%, I should say 150%, to make sure that when you do sign on with us, you are getting the 150% support that you need. And that's why we have the amazing support team that we have, our onboarding team, our customer support, and our team that just helps make sure you guys are going smoothly, answers any questions you may have. They're here to help you every step of the way and make that transition a little smoother. As adults, we also don't like transition. So it's just a key thing to have in place. My husband's a key example of not liking transition since day one. Tell your parents about the upcoming change. Please don't be that center that decides to say, Mom and Dad, tomorrow we're going completely paperless. You download this app, okay, bye. No, please, 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 please give your parents some time to digest that change. And now, whether it is just a couple of days, it doesn't have to be a long time. But by sending out a sample parent flyer just to give them an overview of what's to come, it just helps make that piece so much smoother for you folks. And then this way, parents aren't full of 100 questions. You're answering the same question 500 times that day. No. You don't want that for yourself. That's so overwhelming and super unnecessary. So just take some time, whether you do. Let's say we have our parent flyer that we give out to you folks when you do sign up with us to share with mom and dad, share it, give them a rough timeline saying, hey, we're hoping to roll it, let's say in a week, whatever it may be. As we do on board, our teachers and staff will be able to answer your questions appropriately. Makes your life simple. Next up, and this is, I clicked into the flyer, my apologies there. I got a little excited. Understand your devices. This was a big one that I wanted to touch point because Amanda was talking a lot about it. Take time to support your staff with devices. Now, many times have I been on the phone with folks and they've said, I'm not tech savvy. Well, guess what? Neither am I. But I personally don't believe it's not really I'm not tech savvy. It's just that I don't know what to do. And even, I won't lie, even for my boss, I turn to her and I go, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. Can you show me how to do this? And I think that's a pretty big piece as to why a lot of centers decide that not to do some tech. So pick something you're comfortable with. It doesn't mean it needs to be expensive by any means. And then start putting a program in place. And I'd highly recommend, if you're going to go ahead and pick up, let's say, a tablet, just as an example, and you have one staff member who's pretty good with that tablet, another staff member who's maybe not so good with the tablet, partner them up so they can work together. This way, one person's definitely doing some teaching, one person's doing some learning. They're going to learn from each other in the long run anyways, and you're kind of set up for success there. Another key piece here is, no matter what you do, no matter what type of application or software or whatever you need, your Wi-Fi is good. It doesn't matter. Wi-Fi nowadays is just like, it's your key to a lot of things, folks. And you want to know what? At the end of the day, it will just take some struggle. You don't need to worry about it. So whether that's making sure your modem is, up to date and running as smoothly as possible, as well, if maybe you have some dark spots within your center. I know the center I worked in, for example, you walked past, we used to have radios we carried. You walked past this one spot and it would just kind of go off like no tomorrow. It was going into like a black zone is what it was doing. So just to make sure that you're in that great place. Okay. 6, get everyone trained up on the program. Here at HiMama, we love to do a launch party. This way we get everybody trained up same time. There's a place for questions. It's a really good piece. And even if, let's say, you're a smaller center and you're taking on a little bit of the teachings yourself, it's just important to set some expectations for both yourself, your teachers, whoever it may be, or if, let's say, you're bringing on a really keen parent who's willing to help and keep things going, whatever's going on, provide some training sessions and some ongoing ones too. It's not a bad thing to revisit, do some refreshers. It's super helpful, actually. I find even for myself, I'm looking at refreshers on a day-to-day now, because it's like, hey, I know how to do most of it, but I want to just make sure I know how to do all of it, and allowing for that fit. Okay. The key piece, stick with it. So consistency is key. We as educators know this for children. We're not here, let's follow our own advice. There's going to be bumps. It doesn't matter the transition. It's the same thing when we're working with children. There's bumps, rocks, and rolls along the way. We want to make sure that it's definitely a huge piece. Okay, so just stick with it. No matter what, you might be getting some really bad feedback. It might just be one experience though. So just make sure to stick with it. Work through the bumps. Work through with somebody. Talk to somebody. If you're, let's say, you're on with HiMama and you're really struggling with something, talk to the support team. See what we can do to help you out and help ease some of those bumps. Okay. Once everyone is settled, my key one here for you is take the feedback. Now, maybe roll yourself out some time. Let's say you decide you want to onboard and pick up HiMama and you want to get us out, and let's say, full onboarding everybody, big center, all the kit and boodle, and you want to roll it out over like 3-4 months or so, and you finally get everybody set up, engines running nice and smooth, everything's going really cool and great, then I highly recommend collect some feedback. Collect feedback from your teachers, collect them from yourself. If you have a board, maybe collect them from board, or people you consult with who consult with you about the center, whatever it may be, whoever it may be. Take some feedback, take it back, digest it. Don't forget yourself too, no matter who you are. Don't forget your cook, like whoever it is. Take the feedback, learn from it, create an action plan for yourself, and then go forward. And this will actually help a lot with the consistency too. So just to make sure you have that. Okay. Those are my 8 little pieces, folks. Now I want to play a little clip from Amanda. So I'd mentioned this. Amanda was on our webinar last week, and if you'd missed it, I highly recommend you check out the recording. Amanda is hilarious. So she's the director and owner of Pocket Full of Posies. Fantastic lady. And she was strongly opposed to going to an app. She's very much the, I want to say the idea and the ideology that they follow at the center, and everything that they follow around at their center specifically. And I'm sure some of you can relate, is very low tech based. In her case, they follow a bit of Reggio Emilia and a little bit of Montessori. So they've got some key pieces kind of from everybody. And of course, having tech, she was really concerned about having tech in her classroom. Now, of course, not tech for the children. We're talking about tech for the teachers. Okay. So she was against it. And then COVID hit. And because, like many centers, the communication with parents and on, face-to-face communication with parents is just so important. And don't get me wrong, please don't ever lose that at your center. It's a really key piece for so many people. But of course, with COVID, it was gone for her because she couldn't have anybody in her center. Many centers are still like that. I'm sure if you want to pop it in the chat, you're in the same place right now. It's something that we're all kind of struggling because it helps build on the community that we have going. And so she decided she had looked at us in the past and she went, no, I don't want to do this. No, 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 no. So she decided to go ahead and do it. And she did. And she joined us height of COVID. And because of that, she would never look back. And it was so great. So I do recommend if you want to spend, she's roughly about 30 minutes talking a little bit more in detail. This is just a quick snippet that we're going to talk here a bit today. Kaya's posted the link to her specific webinar here in the chat, but give a listen. Now, folks, I'm sharing my volume. Shouldn't be too bad, but if you're having issues, just be aware. I like to make sure everybody's going okay with the volume. So I'm just turn it up a small bit here. You should be good to go. All right, let's hear from Amanda.
Advertise for you because this is all on my own free will. It's just been a really helpful way for us to acclimate to this crazy time, and I know that there are different centers experiencing this in different ways across the board. You have different, I'm sure that there are places that their rules haven't been changed at all, and places that their rules have been changed dramatically more than ours. But for the changes that we'd experienced, the separation, we have pods of groups and they don't interact with other classroom pods, and we don't invite the parents in, and they don't really get to, we have some big nice windows that people can poke their head in and see a couple of our classrooms, but there are a couple classrooms that parents get they don't get to see their kid. It's upstairs. The kids just walk away and say goodbye, and that's it for the whole day. So to have this ability to share, and for it to be so easy, because as I said, when I tried to acclimate at first, I tried to send an email once a week. That was a pain. It was so much work. I'd put too many pictures in the email and it wouldn't send, and it was not worth it. But if you're trying to find this connection, I'd say that this is worth it.
I have to say, shout out to Amanda once again. Fabulous to have her on last week. She was absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, she was referring about obviously starting up here with HiMama and getting on board with us. And of course, like I mentioned, please do check out her full recording because she goes into so much more detail. Amanda sadly had a couple of hiccups with her internet connection. It was an up and down. So do bear with her in the actual recording. It is a little bit choppy there for a minute or two, but not to fret, it's not you. So it's just on the recording as well. Folks, thank you so much for sitting here through us today. We've had a couple of questions, and before I
advertise for you.
Oh, here we go.
This is
my apologies. We started on here. HiMama is here to help. No matter what, I know a lot of changes have come through, but I've had a couple of questions come through on the chat here. So one of them before we finish in and wrap up here was about getting staff on board with change. Highly recommend having further conversations to your staff about, what is it if, let's say, they're not keen about change, why? And it doesn't mean you're going to go ahead and do something in the moment with them. Have that in-depth conversation. And Amanda actually went through and talked a little bit more about, one of her staff members was actually seriously concerned about starting up with tech. This particular staff member is a little bit older, and it of course was a serious concern for her to being able to keep up. And a couple of our other staff members were actually concerned about having some tech in the classroom and them using it. They were personally concerned that they would feel diverted away from the children. And then Amanda went, you want to know what? No, we need to make it our own. We are the professionals and we need to stick with it. And so part of being on board with her two staff that particularly were a little worried about having tech in the classroom, she worked with them a little bit more closely. And for the specific staff that was a little adverse to the tech piece, the actual physical using of the tech, she worked very closely with to make sure she felt comfortable using it within her classroom and being able to visit there and being open. And I know that's especially hard right now because we're stretched to the max right now, even past. So I want to say, like, if I could give every single one of you a medal the size of the earth when COVID is over, I will do my best to do so. It, we're stretched to the max, we're stretched to staffing capacity, where the anxiety levels are up the roof. It's a very much a scary place right now, and I definitely get that. And so I think just continuing to support, and I think that will do the best. We have to start somewhere, and from there it will grow. One of the other ones here we had is being a little bit more around. So sorry, it's only 3:30, folks. Are we able to plan special activities for overnight camping trips in the summer, etc., and the rest of it, or we just propose for parents needing care overnight? You want to know, I think within those operating the 24-hour care pieces, I think we might have to look a little bit more deeper into specifically what's going on. Of course, we have COVID right now. It's kind of wrapping around some of those extra regulations and making things just extra gray, even black in some areas. But I think for the purpose of, parents potentially needing just overnight care, maybe they are working a shift work that is that, 11 to 7 shift, or wherever it may be. But there's no real answer to all of those yet. I feel like they're still rolling out. I saw it here, a couple of people have posted, there's no real news around that. The answers are still coming out. I'm also not surprised at the same time. I feel like no matter which government, wherever you are, this is a typical for them. But if you are maybe thinking about doing 24-hour care, I would possibly consider, obviously, depending on what time that overnight care is to start. So let's say you guys decide to operate as like a 6 to 6, like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and then resume your regular hours in those other hours, potentially looking at, running an evening routine that includes maybe an activity or two, something that's simple, a calming activity, things like that. And then, of course, you're probably going to have those extra regulations on checking sleep and sleeping hours and things like that. So making sure to I would say just start turning the wheels around those ideas before the clarity comes out. But then know that there should be some more clarity coming from that. Folks, if you are a HiMama customer with us, first of all, I'm so happy to have some HiMama family members joining us today. You guys do so many things. Thank you so much for being there, and being a part of the HiMama family. And if you're not part of the HiMama family, first of all, continue to be here with us. I'm so happy to have you. If you're looking at joining the HiMama family and you've never maybe heard about us, first of all, there's so many things, from sharing daily reports with families, so including pictures, videos, skills, assessment, lesson planning. I could go on for a really long time. Billing, it's all of it. Classroom management. If you're a director and you're looking at having some more eyes on just like the center as a whole, there's so many things HiMama actually does, and centers from Fort McMurray to Lethbridge. I have family in both those cities, and I've actually been to Lethbridge, like I'd mentioned before. So, and don't forget too, we have your Alberta framework in there to continue, so you guys can tag skills, things like that. There's so many key things within HiMama for you to use. And this is why I say, when you're looking for an app, know what you want, know what you're looking for, or at least be open to some more ideas. And you may not know something you're actually looking for. So that's why it's great to actually check things out and see things a little bit more. So if you're looking to add your center, we are the most popular app here in Canada. We're proudly Canadian. Obviously, I'd mentioned this before, but we have a special offer that's actually made for you Alberta folks. If you have not started up with us, and you're looking to start up with us, we love doing offers. I won't lie, I love being able to tell an offer. So this is for limited time, so take advantage of this Alberta promotion, and I'm going to get Kaya to post in the chat. We have a specific she already has, she's on it, a specific place for you to check us out. Also, if you'd like to read up a little bit more about us, but get us free until May 2021 when you sign up for a 12-month plan. Do it. I think it would be so exciting to have everyone join the HiMama family. And if you're using a program here and you were maybe thinking about, hey, I really like my program, but A, B, and C doesn't fit, or A, whatever it may be, then we have a bonus for you to switch with us today. This is where it's a $300 value. It comes along with us. Just let us know you're switching from another one, and the folks on the other end will know exactly what to do for you. But we do some customized training, a little bit more helping switch your staff, get them on board with a new program, especially because, things can be a little bit different I shouldn't say a lot different from one program to the other. So to know that we have you covered there, you'd be saving quite a bit. So saving any money, folks. I love the word save. Save, save, save. When I shop online, what sales on? It's in the Mary, you'd have to talk because it's based off what you're looking for specifically. That's the only thing I cannot tell you that part because I'd have to sit down and do. I'm sorry about that. Do a little bit more chat, but we'd love to take you through, chat with you more, find out what your needs are, and then we can definitely give you that better piece for you. So go check us out, HiMama.com/Alberta. It's a special piece for you. Like I said, if you want to read a little bit more before you get diving in and everything, there's some good pieces there for you. Folks, it's in the chat. We're going to provide a certificate here for you. Kaya's going to pop it in. Thank you for participating with us today. You can go ahead and click on it, download this guy here, and then you can just pop in your name, your center name, keep for your records. There you go. Kaya's got it. Just click and paste this guy into your browser, not the one you're watching us on here today, because otherwise you might lose something. But it will also be in your show notes for you. Okay, so if you can't get it, not to worry. It's going to be there for you. So if you just want to hang on and let go and get it all later, I will send it to you. So not to fret. This week, folks, if you've never joined one of our Thursday HiMama Helps webinars, if this was your first one, I'm so happy to have you all here, but you can join us. This week, we have Jill coming on. She's talking a little bit more about self-regulation, and not just in children, but parents and educators as well. I'm so excited. I've seen the slides. They look fantastic. She is absolutely amazing. If you've never seen any of our HiMama webinars before, you can find all of them on we share everything on our site through our blog. So you can find everything there, plus tons of other resources. If you're ever looking for anything, tons of blog posts, our podcast, all of it's happening. Join us. Well, yeah, we're going to be sending you an email shortly there, Mary, if you want a little bit more about the pricing side. Thanks, Kaya. If you haven't, please join our Facebook group. I know some of you already mentioned. Please comment in the Facebook group. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing. And I hope you had some good insights, maybe even got some questions that you hadn't thought around the changes to Bill 39 and everything with that. But maybe stir up some conversation in the Facebook chat, folks. You never know what's coming out from there. There's so many great people on. So follow us as well. Instagram, Kaya is all over Instagram. And if you're looking for our podcast, we have our preschool podcast that happens as well. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So if you're looking for anything, so many great things coming out about that. It's absolutely amazing. I love a good podcast with Ron. So thank you so much, Alberta. Thank you for being with us today. I'm going to give you a couple minutes back, but Kaya, yeah, I wanted to make sure, did I miss anything?
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it for a Tuesday. I mean, usually we do this on a Thursday, so it's been great. And I really hope we can see all of our Alberta friends on our Thursday webinar. Super excited about that too.
I agree. Thank you so much, folks. And say hello to all of our Alberta people out there. Join us on Facebook. Maybe Kaya, if you just want to share this certificate one more time for the folks so that they have a link to it once again. And thank you for joining us. I'll give you folks a couple minutes back, maybe go to the washroom before you maybe have to go back to the classroom or whatever it may be. But join us Thursday. Check us out online. Don't forget to take advantage of our Alberta promotion. That's there for you folks. There's a reason why it's just for Alberta. And thank you so much for being with us. Everyone, please stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope I'll see you on Thursday. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care for today. Once again, if you do miss any of the links, not to fret, everything is going to get sent out with the show notes. It will come to your inbox, so just keep your eye out for it there. All right. Take care. Have a great Tuesday.